Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are so excited to have our next guest joining us here today. Yes, it's Haley Sparks. She's live on the Zoom as well as the podcast today from Rebuilt Life Coaching. That's rebuiltlifecoaching.com. As a holistic nutrition coach, we're going to talk today about all the work she does and, of course, how she's here to help you in a holistic realm. How are you?
Right. Doing well. Super happy to be here as well. I think this is a more common topic nowadays as the world is trying to get healthy. So I like and I'm super passionate about the holistic route of things and not so much of the medication. Right. So
Yep.
I hope y'all enjoy.
Beautiful. Well, we're excited to talk. And just, since it's the first time on Zoom, could you give us a little bit of your background about how you got into this field and a little bit about your qualifications before we get into today's topics?
Yes. So we actually had one of the podcasts on this just a little bit, but as you know, I actually struggled with an eating disorder for about 10 years, 8 to 10 years of my life. I would say it felt like a whole other lifetime. But that's where the root of my passion comes from, is really just walking the walk myself, not going through the help with dietitians and counselors and having to really figure out how to do this my own. And we don't realize how much that entails. So that's emotional trust. That's like learning
Yep.
how to eat foods and not fear them anymore. Like there's so many things that go with that. A lot of mindset that we don't even really tend to think about. So that's where I come from. And that's why I'm super passionate about working with clients one-on-one to help them establish the routines and habits that are keeping them from making long-term progress.
Got it. And let's get into it. What are the top three biggest mistakes that people make when getting into nutrition coaching?
Yeah, I think what you're going to notice in a big theme of today's show is like the whole I want instant gratification versus long-term results. And
Yep.
that's one of the biggest mistakes that clients tend to make is they want that instant gratification. They want that instant weight loss, the two
Yeah.
pounds a week or the 3 pounds a week. And when that scale doesn't move, they tend to freak out. And then they think that the program's not working. But the whole thing is your body's going to need some patience and healing your body from the inside out, and then also the mindset, and then also building the routines. It takes time. Sometimes the weight doesn't move for a month or two just
Yeah.
because your hormones are adjusting and getting regulated. So you'll see the wins long term, but a lot of people tend to aim for that instant gratification, and that's one of the biggest ones that I see.
Well, can I also ask? I mean, you've been doing this for quite some time, and
Mhm.
people also face nutrition challenges. What's the difference with that versus nutrition coaching?
Right, right. I would say the challenges, I like working with challengers because they're super motivated and they like to hustle for that short amount of time. But what I seem to notice is it's the guidance long term that they're kind of missing. So, yes, nutrition challenges are great to keep yourself nutritionally minded and goal focused and really paying attention to working on yourself. That's awesome. But a lot of times it ends when the diet ends. How many times do we see people go through, step on
Yep.
some toes, 75 hard, and then they continue to do everything that they practiced in 75 hard?
Yep.
Jill, what's in 75 hard? Going out and getting some walks in the sun, drinking your water, exercising a little bit, eating and cooking your own foods. That sounds like a realistic lifestyle to me. Yet people, why aren't they continuing to do that after 75-day hard? Because they don't have the routines and habits to back it up. So challenges are very much short term because we're not getting down to the root causes. We're just focusing on that motivational short term goal.
That makes sense. Thank you for that. You got me excited. Well,
I mean,
I
I
love
live
your
on a
passion
high.
and your energy for this. And then you have this amazing program. It's one of your signature programs. Is it the 90-day program still?
Yes, that's
Okay.
the main program. Is that 90-day program.
And could you talk a little about what that's all about and what's the commitment to
Mhm.
it? Yeah.
So the main thing that I like to do in this 90-day program, yes, we're going to establish the habits and routines, but you need that accountability. You need that best friend for 12 weeks to hold your hand and check on the small things that you think that you got down, like drinking water on the routine. You
Mhm.
really do need that person to check in on you for a long time to make it a habit. So what we do a lot in this program is we monitor how consistent we're able to build on these habits. Because if we build 4 or 5 habits, but then in 3 months we're only 30% compliant in 1 or 2 of them, that's not going to last after the 3 month program. So we check that compliancy, we build on these habits, and we make sure that it's going to stick so that after the 12-week program, you're still making progress
Yep.
6, 9 months later. And I love those testimonies as well.
Yes. Well, I also want to ask you this question. I mean, we've been doing this, talking, for quite some time, and we've always, get to know a lot about, the clients and what you're doing for them, right? But
Mhm.
how, once you start, how do you keep track of them? Is it your, do you have an app, or is it accountability? Or are you
Right.
vice versa on, like, yeah, what's the accountability factor there?
Right. So there, like we were talking about, there's a lot of accountability. So that's a good question. Like, how do we keep track of all of this?
Yep.
I want to keep track of all the wins. So the
Okay.
progress pictures are going to be something that, weekly we're keeping track of, and there's a way to submit those things because guys, physically, you're probably going to lose some inches in inflammation first before the number on that scale changes. So we're going to monitor the scale, the physical aspect of it. As we're getting started. But how to start tracking, that progress, like when people are wanting to start wondering, and seeing if they're losing inches, take the progress pictures. Go towards the progress pictures first before you do something like the weight on the scale. Do that weekly because even if you feel like you totally blew it for eating crappy on the weekends or whatever, you may not realize that you still lost inches through consistency over
Yeah.
time
Got it.
you know so start with the progress pictures and then be consistent in taking those too, even when you don't feel like you deserve to.
I know. Guilty, right? I guilty as
Yeah,
charged. I think we all
word.
deal with that a little.
Yes.
So workout or diet, which would you say is most effective? And or is it both, a compilation?
uh with the holistic wheel we work on, and I tell people this, and there it's kind of like a gut check, right? We have exercise, we have diet, we have stress, we have your support system, and we have sleep. If you're not paying attention to, for example, your support system as much as your exercise, that's going to make a difference long term. They all 5 matter just as much. Now, if you go and work out, you'll see a lot of bodybuilders, right? They go and work out and they do the same thing the whole time that they're prepping for this show. What changes? The diet, the consistency with the diet. So I would say if people are going to work on one or the other, that diet's going to be the way that you see long term results and you see changes. It's going to impact your gym experience so much more too, because now you have energy. Now you have fuel for your body. Now you're not overworking yourself in the gym for what you're eating
Okay.
outside of the gym, you know? So I would say diet first is where people don't want to work
Well,
on, but because it works.
all right. Well, let me ask you this because back to a little bit of weight loss in a sense. What are some of our habits that
Mhm.
maybe the 3 common habits that clients work on and can see the most weight loss from?
Yeah. Okay. So this is golden. Three
Ah,
tips for, I mean, for real.
bring it
And people be
on.
like, yes. And they're going to be so simple too. But like I go back to that 75-day hard. I really do love that program. Okay. I think it's great because it introduces holistic steps. But the top 3 things I would say is water, staying hydrated
Okay.
consistently. Okay. Because that not only is going to help energy, that's going to help your weight loss, it's going to help inflammation, regulate blood sugar, your cravings. Like water is a low key magic pill. So we think that we're consistent with water, but your 20 to 30 ounces a day is not consistent. We
No.
need to get about 60% of our body weight. It's better than nothing, let me tell you
It's
that.
true. No,
But,
absolutely.
drink it first thing in the morning, drink it between your coffees. You don't have to take away your coffee, drink it between your coffees, things like that. But water is going to be one of them. I would say the next one is incorporating the plate method. So what that looks like is having double the amount of vegetables in your lunches and dinners than your carbs, which are like your potatoes or your rolled rice,
Guilty.
things
I
like
like
that.
those better. I do. I do.
It's like usually flip flop. Usually we
It's
want
so,
double the rolls
yeah.
than we want the salad. But people, a simple lifestyle hack is just put one handful of vegetables in your lunches and dinners. Eat them first. Okay. Eat it first. And then eat your carbs last, your other carbs last. But that's a huge diet hack for a lot of people because you're getting vitamins and minerals. You're staying full and it works long term. And then that last one I would say is people's sleep schedule. So a lot of times people aren't going to the gym because their sleep is sucky. Okay. A lot of times people
Totally.
aren't prepping breakfast in the morning because their sleep is sucky. So
Hmm.
these three things are not even hardly touching on nutrition, but they make the biggest progress.
Oh my goodness. Well, let me ask you, by the way, just about you mentioned minerals, vitamins, and the vegetables, but what do you think
Mhm.
about supplements?
That's a good question. Supplements are to supplement what we're not getting in the day. So if we're not getting the vitamins and minerals from our vegetables, that's why oftentimes people supplement vitamins and minerals in pill form. Just eat those things, you know? So supplements should be to supplement maybe what your body is lacking or in a deficiency of, but you need to be doing the steps first holistically to get those vitamins and minerals.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Now, let me ask you
Mm.
about going out because a lot of us do go out for dinner, for lunch. It's part of the social thing, but that's where we can go into a little bit of a downfall, but out of spin
Mhm.
control. You cheat a little, but what can we do to make sure we keep our eating habits healthy and on track when we get out to that nice restaurant that we want
Yeah.
that on the menu, and all the bad things, but we really shouldn't.
Yes. Right. I remember I used to freak out about going out to eat at restaurants when I was super deep in my anorexia because of the lack of knowing and just like knowing that there was a whole bunch of oils and, how do you stay on track? So usually a lot of times people kind of just, I'll just eat whatever I want and start over afterwards. Right. But eating out is a lot of times a part of our lifestyle because of how busy we are. So this is going to be the most realistic goal. And I know everyone can do this. And it's probably going to be like a simple one. Portion control.
Oh,
Portion
yep.
control.
Uh-huh,
Oh my
guilty. Yep.
goodness. Yep. Hey, you didn't have three rolls. You had one this time, but you didn't deprive yourself. Boom. That's balance, people. You didn't have or maybe you only had one handful of chips instead of three handfuls of chips. People think that it has to be this all or nothing thing. Now, we should get used to not having like all the things and treating it like a buffet. But to be honest, you're still going to make progress if you're just eating less of what you normally abuse, right? Um, I would say another tip, Jill, is like look up the restaurant before you go there for those that are really wanting to do better. Look up the restaurant's menu before you go there so that you don't have this anxiety type of feeling when you get there and you're trying to have a good time, but you're also trying to find the good stuff on the menu.
Yeah.
Look at the menu in advance, pick a couple of options so that you can go and feel good about it and proud of yourself. Those
All
are
right.
realistic.
All right, that's good too. And what just one trick that I use, and not that I'm on a big diet or anything, I just like drinking water first because it fills me up, so I don't eat as much at a meal, and it helps with bloating
That's
because I
good.
feel like it's stopping. But I'm still eating, but I feel like I don't know. I just like the liquid intake earlier in my meal.
There's a reason for that too. So actually, people can balance their blood sugar by doing that, but you're getting a real feel for how hungry you are. A lot of times people like eat their emotions when they get at the table because they've worked all day and they're just ravenous. Maybe they haven't eaten since breakfast. But when you do have that glass of water before, it kind of gives your body a real feel of how hungry you actually are. So follow Jill's advice here and do that too.
All right, thank you for that. Okay, let's also find out, just to remind everyone, Haley, how we can contact you. Could you share the website again and all forms of contact?
So the website's going to be the easiest way to find all forms of contact because you have my social media links on there, like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So go there. You can contact me also via email and phone number on there. I love Instagram. I'm live on there. I'm very active there. So you can always message me there too. I know we're always on social media. So you look up my name, Haley Sparks Pullen, you'll find me.
All right, thank you so much. Let's continue the work that you're doing and, of course, how you're here to help people. And for today, let's dive into now maybe how eating, you say, can affect your progress.
Yeah. So, people that eat out, eating out's not a bad thing. Okay. Like I said, it's part of our lifestyle. But now, eating out in terms of how this is affecting your progress, if you
Mm-hmm.
eat a salad, even if you're going to a restaurant and you're eating a salad every single day, I guarantee you're probably holding weight from inflammation, those
Yep.
extra seed oils. People are really becoming educated on those seed oils. a lot of times we're getting those extra calories unintentionally, even through things like salads when we're not prepping those ourselves. So clients that, that are eating out, 5 to 6 times a week, even 3 to 4 times a week, which isn't much at all, like at all. But I'm going to tell them, hey, if the weight at the end of the week doesn't move, I know you're eating healthy at these places, but your body may hang on to some inflammation. And most of the times that's true. So I just want to prepare them in advance to know you're not backtracking. Your body's just responding.
Got it. Well, that's good to know. Now,
Mhm.
also, let's ask and remind our listeners about carbs. We talked about potatoes before, filling up and using those, obviously
Mhm.
eating them. After the fact, you have your vegetables and the fruit and the good stuff. But
Yeah.
why we shouldn't completely cut that out, right? We could still have some, we just don't want as
Yes.
much.
Right. Carbs are not the enemy, which is what I always used to think. They're our main source of energy, our main source of fuel or our energy. And people hear that, but they still don't know how to incorporate that. So I want to show you how. So carbs, literally, if we think about a fourth of our plate or a handful, right? That's generally the amount that we want to aim for, even if it's that roll. We tend to abuse that relationship because we're generally not getting enough of those vitamins and minerals or enough of that protein, which makes us crave sugary things, which are carbs, right? So carbs are hard to balance because a lot of us don't know how to use them, but we shouldn't avoid them because they're our main source of energy. So if you think about, just like I said, portion it down. If you don't want to get like super technical, portion down your carbs just a little bit more, but don't just eat the chicken and veggies, because you want to use those carbs to function throughout the day. And a lot of times those fats will break down those carbs for energy, so you're not storing them. So, food really is fuel, and they work together if we're having them in the right portions.
Good to know. And everything in moderation, as they say, right? Easier said than done.
Mm-hmm.
What
Mm-hmm.
about, if people say, well, I use a meal plan, and maybe that's
Mm-hmm.
okay, but there's flaws with that, right? Especially long term.
Yes, I actually did a video on this morning, and I had a client that I signed up for the program this morning where
Oh,
we talked about this, because
okay.
he suggested, he was like, I really work well off of a meal plan. You just have to tell me what to do. And I'm like, so and so, if I told you what to do, how are you going to know what to do
Yeah.
when I don't have that, right? So I love meal plans, one, for knowledge, learning the balance of things. It's kind of like a stress-free
Hmm.
way of getting started because it's just provided for you. Love it for that. But these are learning tools. They're not long term. So learn from it, but you got to learn how to balance foods and all the stuff without them as well. Now, if you're creating meal plans for yourself, awesome. But a lot of times people get over anxious and they start planning for the whole week or whatever. Plan one or two staples, repeat those. Meal planning could be one of those things that makes or breaks you, to be honest.
All right. Well, let's talk as far as you, as what you're doing and all your work as a coach and, at Rebuilt, what do you say works the most? I mean, you need the
Mm-hmm.
mindset, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
talked about working out, diet, it's all kind of important, but
Right.
don't you think that it helps to have someone hold your hand and guide you? Because obviously people aren't able to do this by themselves. I mean, some can, but is the most important
Yes.
part, maybe it's time to talk to someone, to reach out to someone like yourself, or if not you as a holistic nutrition
Mm-hmm.
coach to get started, because you can really guide them. I would think that makes a huge difference. And I'm sure, I
Mm-hmm.
would love to hear some, of your client stories still, but I think that's great.
Uh, you nailed it, because I was going to say people feel guilty for hiring someone for accountability, but I think accountability, people, is like the number one thing that we need. We really do need it. Like, if it was that easy to, go outside and walk 2 times a day,
Yeah.
or eat the vegetables, or drink the gallon of water, we would just do it. So why aren't we? So I really do think the accountability factor is something I pride myself in the program, because, like I said, I
Yeah.
mean, I know how lonely and how lost it is doing it on your own. So that's why in the program, in the app, we have this inbox system where you can message 24/7. I have people that literally update me throughout the day, all day. And now that's not something that we're working on, but I love seeing their wins and kind of like their mindset throughout the day. And then also our weekly Zoom calls. So a lot of accountability. We have access to messaging all the time, and then the weekly Zoom calls as well for that 12 weeks. So we're very much interactive with each other because accountability is one of those main things that people need after the 12-week program or just in general, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, thank you for that. We still have more time today to talk about the work you're doing, actually, another 6 minutes. So,
Okay.
what else did you have in mind for everyone today about the work you're doing and, how you're helping so
Mhm.
many?
Uh, I do, monthly nutrition talks as well. So I know people, I love sharing the information. I love talking nutrition. I feel like this is not a competition with people. So I want people healthy. So I do nutrition talks monthly, live on my platforms, and in that rebuilt Facebook group. So guys, if you want to add me on Facebook, it's that Haley Sparks Poland, and then I can get you in that private group. And the only reason it's private is because I don't know how to make it public. Okay. So it's just a process to get people in there, but I go live monthly so you can learn without signing up for coaching. But truthfully, I want to work with you. I want you to have the energy and the accountability and the hype woman that you deserve for 12 weeks. Like, you need that encouragement. And I love being one of those people that's in their support system, like their top five. I like being one of those top five because I truly find a passion in being that accountability coach too.
Oh, we love it. Also, you're working with people all over the world at this point, right? It's fascinating what Zoom could
Yes.
do.
Yeah, online I work with people everywhere. However, nutrition coaching is just going to be in Texas. So people in Texas, if this is you, like, I take very limited clientele nowadays because I want to work with you exclusively. Like, I used to take 25, 35 clients and just have 15-minute call. All right, on to the next one. 15-minute call, on to the next one. But I want to take those 30, 40-minute calls sometimes where we just debunk the week too on those weekly calls. So Texas residents, I would love to work with you. And I take 5 one-on-one spots a month.
Got it. Awesome. Good to know.
Mhm.
Could you share a story or two of someone that you're working with or have worked with in the past on this, the 90-day program that you've helped overcome? And I'm sure it can share some great success about their weight loss and, of course, how they're healthier today.
One of the clients, so she's actually working with me still. She has re-upped her 3 months or the 90-day program 3 times. So this is now her ninth month with me. And so I've really loved working with her because what people don't realize is 3 months is just a speck into what it really takes. If people will give themselves 1 to 2 years, and I know it can sound discouraging, but it's true. If you can give yourself 1 to 2 years of consistency, you'll hit those 50, 60, 70 pound weight loss goals. So with this client, what I've really loved about working with her is how much she's gotten her family involved in this thing too. So with her, going to the grocery store consistently and bringing grocery homes at the same time consistently, those kinds of things, her family's picked up on that. And now her daughter is now chopping the vegetables for them. Her
Yeah.
husband is actually like cooking the proteins or like cleaning the dishes or something like that. So now like the
Wow.
family's kind of involved, and they're two doctors. So they're super busy. So this quality time with their daughter has been really beautiful to watch because that was time that really it was just the extras at the end of the day that she was getting. So it's been cool to see this family grow just because the mom is working on
Mhm.
her nutrition habits. Like, you don't think about those kinds of things. You just think, oh, I'm going to be selfish and work on myself for 90 days, but you don't see how much your daughter's watching, and she's 15 years old, right? You don't see how much your husband is watching, and it just changes the dynamic of the family. So I've really loved not just the physical results that she's made, but seeing the family get into it also.
Oh, I love hearing the positive stories and accounts. It just says so much. And clearly, you're passionate about what you do. In our last two
Mhm.
minutes together, why should we choose you? Tell us, what you say makes you really
Yeah.
unique. And I know you have great success stories and you love what you do, which is
Mhm.
great. But how would you put
Yeah.
it into your own words?
Uh, I think, just going throughout, I've been with other coaches and stuff. I'm also somebody that just doesn't lose that fire long term. You can work with me 2 weeks, you can work with me 1 year. You're going to get the same motivation and same like hungriness to reach your goals as you are on the initial consult call, because I want it so bad for you. And I know we can navigate all of the hurdles, and I know we can navigate all of the mindsets. It's just a matter of sticking with it. So I think really just, the energy, like the true passion, the genuineness that I really want you to hit your goals and do whatever it takes to get there. And that's why, I like working with such limited clientele now, is because I can do those 20, 45-minute phone calls, because I want to make sure that you're really learning and really getting what you need to be successful out of this.
Got it. Well, thank you so much for being here, for joining us. If we want to reach out to you, remind us again how we can sign up.
Rebuilt Life Coaching, you can book a free consultation on there. So it's a 30-minute call with me. Get on there and do that. My phone number's on there. You can also text me as well. And then you also have my social links that you can go and creep me out. You can message me.
Did you say creep me out?
Yep. Make sure I pass the test, right? So social media and also the website would be a great place to start.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Pleasure having you here today. Great to see you. Great to speak with you. And looking forward to next week. Are we back on next week?
Yes, I think we have our last Zoom call.
Is it? All right.
Yes.
Looking forward to it. Thanks again for always being so thorough and prepared with your notes. We appreciate that too.
Yes, you're so welcome.
Thank you. Same here. Have a great day. To all of our listeners, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.